Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening to all of you. This is Dr. Azrul speaking, and inshallah today we will complete and finish our chapter and summarize on what we have learned so far in exception topic. Okay, in general, we will look into two major sections for today, which call creating custom exception class and assertion topic. First and foremost, in Java library, we already have enormous number of error and exception types, including the exception handling approach. However, Java still provides a specific facility for us to construct our own predefined or custom exception classes. For small size or average size scope of program, we may use existing exception class in the API, application procedure interface, whenever possible. But if there is a lacking scope of exception type, then Java will allow us to create custom exception class if the predefined classes are not sufficient. But how we are going to deal with it? The answer is we should declare exception classes by extending exception or subclass of exception. Alright, the following example of a set radius program describe one possible way on how we could able to construct our own custom exception class. The method will throw an exception if the radius is negative or equals to 0. Suppose you wish to pass the radius to the handler, you have to create a custom exception class like the following example. Right, this is the example of custom exception class called invalid radius exception. If you can look, we declare this custom exception by extending the exception class. And the following program circle with radius exception illustrate a complete program on how to implement the custom exception class as we declared in the previous slide. Watch carefully at the constructor method where we locate try and catch block statement. We call a method setRadius in order to check whether the input value is more than 0 or not. If the value is 0 or negative, then the program will catch an exception called invalid radius exception. Okay, this is an example of radius exception class, and finally we have the test program. Please do this as your lab exercise and observe how the custom exception class is operated in the program. However, I will advise you not to stress out or getting headache in this topic. I mean the custom exception class, because it is not a popular question in your examination. Just have it as your additional knowledge and programming skills. Most importantly, you have to emphasize on the runtime exceptions classes example. Okay. So now we move into the next topic. This is the final topic for the chapter, and we call this topic as the assertion. Assertion is a Java statement that enables you to test your assumption about your program. It contains a Boolean expression that should be true during the program execution. Assertion is a good technique to assure program correctness and avoid logic error from occur. Okay. This slide will explain in details on how an assertion will works and operates in your program. When an assertion statement is executed, Java will evaluate the assertion whether it is written true value or false value. If it is a false, okay, an assertion error will be thrown. An assertion error class has a no arguments constructor and 7 overloaded single argument constructor of type integer, long, float, double, boolean, char, and object. If the assertion statement with no detailed parameter, then the no arguments constructor will be triggered. If the assertion statement with one parameter message and appropriate assertion error constructor will be used to match the data type of the message stated in the parameter. Since assertion error is a subclass of error, when assertion becomes false, the program will react and show a message on the console and exit the program. Okay, Now we have an example here. The following program shows a class program, shows a class of assertion demo and its contents. What can you tell me about the program? And it's pretty straightforward, where the program will execute a program in a for loop about 10 times according to the I variable, and adding all the value of sum from 1 to 10. Okay, that's pretty clear. However, what we are more concerned here is that the statements of assertion, as you can look at the program at the bottom area of the program. Okay, there are two lines of assertion statements. Firstly, assert I is equals to 10, which telling us that the program will be stopped when I is equals to 10. Okay. On the other hand, the second assertion statement put two conditions which says sum should be more than 10 and should be less than 50. Then if both assumption is true, it will produce an output of the value of sum. For your information, to execute assertion statement, you have to make a small configuration from the Eclipse editor. You should click the menu Run and select the Run configuration. Then you have to go to the Arguments tab and type -EA enable assertion in the VM arguments area in order to enable assertion in the program. This example shows the way on how we can insert the assertion statement to help the programmer or the reader to get better view and understand about the program. However, the assertion is also an optional statement that can be omitted if you think it is unnecessary. Okay, now we conclude the use of exception handling and assertion. As we already knew, exception handling is to deal with unexpected circumstances, events during the program execution, which commonly known as the runtime error. And assertion is at a different side, where it certainly cannot be used to replace the exception handling. In other words, both exception and assertion come with different purpose. That is, exception handling address a program robustness, while assertion address the program correctness. In my personal view, I would say exception handling is a must, while assertion can be skipped. Not because it is not significant or not important, but if we have some limited cost of time and money, I would choose to skip assertion as compared to the exception handling. The following two programs illustrates two scenarios on which exception handling will be a better choice or assertion. We look at the first example, the set radius. This program is certainly better to use exception handling because during the execution time, the value of radius can be a variety. In order to handle the unexpected input that could cause a runtime error, it will be better to use exception handling in this program. However, in the second example, using switch break statement, assertion is a better choice, to be used just because, just to highlight the default value if the integer representing month is not specified or other than integer from 1 to 12. So assertion would be the good choice for the second example. Okay, we are at the end of the chapter. This slide describes the summary of the chapter, and I believe everything has been discussed in my video materials. However, it would be better if you can read the summary and try to relate with all the contents that we have covered. With this summary, we end up our session for today, and we have completed our chapter. Keep in mind, please do exercise to strengthen your knowledge in this topic, especially during the lab hour. This is Dr. Azrul. Thank you for watching and listening. We will continue with a new chapter next week. Stay safe and stay healthy. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.